I'm too
Just
short.
like the picture.
Right there.
Like right in that.
But
right by the
Obviously, what does it do? Grab
That's
stones.
true.
Turp tubing.
Oh, I won't fall.
You guys have to remember, turp tubing, this is just a manufacturer, okay? They all look different. This is one, they have one that's white, but just look for the rubber and just look for this and you'll know it's turp tubing. Turp tubing gets connected to cystos. Oh, God. Oh, I don't need scopes, we don't really need them. To cysto, all right? And what it does is this gets hooked up to a bag up at the top, and it's constant irrigation. It's closed right now, so when you open it, it's opened. So there's constant irrigation doing what cystoscopies. What's a cystoscopy? Of the bladder, yeah. So turp tubing. Your job as a tech, make sure when these when we get them, they're usually open. Your job as a tech to close it, because right when they hook it up, it's just going to start flowing. This is a cystoscope, although this one has irrigation on there. Most of them are just a straight shaft. Oh yeah, go ahead. Oh, you did. Okay, reducer caps. I don't have any reducer caps. When you guys go out there, reducer caps sit up on here. Okay, they just sit on the bridges.
So they're small.
They're small. They look like they're really tiny.
Okay.
Okay, do not throw these away. They do not get thrown away unless the seal is broken. These are expensive. The hospital hates replacing these. That's why I don't have any, because they're hard to come by.
Why would someone throw it away?
Because they're rubber.
They go on this.
Where do they go?
They go on the ends. And there's a picture on there I have. These are bridges, okay? You're going to see a bunch of different bridges. All right, that's all this is. This is the bridge. This is cystoscope. Okay, what's the next one? I think it's the actual. So now you can actually see the reducer caps on there. That's where the reducer caps go. They have a hole on the top, which allows for this to go through and the wire to go through, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Okay.
That's the blue part on it?
Yeah, they come in a bunch of different colors, green. Loop electrodes, we use these for TURPs, the transurethral resection of prostates for enlarged prostates. We just trim down the prostate, okay? These usually just sit in here. Okay? And then there's a cord and there's a whole bunch, and then the scope goes through here. Okay, I don't have a scope with me. I could get one, I guess. The scope goes right here. Okay, and all they're doing now is they're resecting a bladder, whatever they want to use. Now this isn't a loop electrode. There's a bunch of different ones. Then you have your roller ball. Looks like a ball, and I'll pass them around. Okay, there's like maybe about 6 different one of these, but these are the more common ones, especially this loop electrode. Now they use what they call as a button. It just looks just like a button, and it just flattens it out and smooths it out. So go this way.
So these just kind of go around the sides of it and
They
just.
go on the prostate and shave it, yeah, or the bladder, whatever. Working element. Okay, so you saw your working element. This is also known as a resectoscope because that's where we put our electrodes. Okay.
So that is a resectoscope.
I don't have all the attachments. I wish I did. Obviously, I don't have a flexible ureteroscope. These things are pretty expensive. But flexible, go back real quick. Flexible can also come in rigid and flexible, so it comes hard just like this. They do go up the ureters. We like the ureteroscope better because it's flexible. Okay? Sometimes they will ask for the rigid, but not too often. It's usually the flexible. And those come in separate pans. Okay.
If they weren't flexible, would that cause damage to the ear?
No, because we use rigid. That's what rigid means.
Oh.
We use. All right, cystoscopes. We went over the cystoscopes. I do have an obturator, but the obturators we don't use. Obturators, just like your laparoscopic, the center part, that's your obturator. It's the same thing with this. It's just I have it, so I'll show you. It's just a smooth little rubber thing, and they use that sometimes Rarely, actually. They use it, and what the whole purpose of that is that it just goes in and it's smoother, doesn't cause any damage, and then they'll take it out and then put the scope in. They rarely use the obturator. They just go in with the scope. And hey, there's Alan, there's a white box over there. Actually, you're not gonna know. I'm gonna put the scope in so y'all can see.
She looks so much like, where's Carla? She looks so much like you. She's like your little mini twin.
No, that's the other one. That one has an actual thing on the end of it that spins. It doesn't look like a ball, it just looks like a cylinder, but it spins like a ball. I don't know what I call that, but it's got a thing. No, this one has the little thing, and then it also has a thing on the end that spins. It's right there. Same concept, just another metal thing. It's over here. Let me see it.
So, this isn't a real cystoscope because it usually locks in, but it goes in right here, and it'll go flush and it'll lock in. Okay? And he can see, and then these are his working ports. What goes on top of here again? The reducer cap.
Reducer cap.
Okay, now you can go to the next one.
Rubber reducer cap.
All right, so your K-wire, or your guide wire more than anything. These there's a bunch of different brands for these as well. The idea is this goes up a ureter, and what it does is you can see if there's any blockage in there, whether there's stones or not. When you guys do these, you see how there's a little where you can attach a syringe. All right, I'll pass it around. The idea of this, there's a lot of water in cystos. So you'll get a saline filled syringe and run it through. It helps for this to slide easier because it's really, really stiff right now. So what happens is with the reducer cap here, they'll go in with the wire and they can guide themselves into the ureter with this.
That's after they've injected what?
No, not yet. So they'll go in and they'll do that, okay? That's if they're doing a cystoscopy and they're just looking around, but if they suspect that they're gonna put a stent in, then they'll use this, put it in, and then the stent goes right over it. And it guides it right into the ureter.
Through the reducer cap?
Mm-hmm, right here. That's why the reducer cap has a hole on the top. Okay, next one.
I think I saw that one when I was actually at my field trip, because we had the cystoscope in mind too. And I'm like, oh, that's
I have never seen these until I got here. When I saw it, I thought it was a water bottle.
cute.
But it's an evacuator, and the whole purpose is when you do the terps, there's a lot of floaty stuff, tissue in there, and there's a lot of bleeding. So we use this just for irrigation, and we constantly irrigate. Then we'll pull this out, and the second we pull this out, all that fluid was in there, it would come right back out. And there's a back. Don't worry about everything else because you're gonna learn it. But trust me, it doesn't get you wet. So that's the whole purpose of this is the elic. Same thing, the glass one is called an elic. The glass one is old school. I've always used the elic. The whole idea with these though is to get all the air bubbles out. Same thing with that elic. We don't want any air bubbles in there. We just want plain old fluid. We don't want any air in the bladder, right? So you're gonna see this evacuator here is the one they use. The elic is what you're gonna see on your CST. all right? An iliac evacuator does the same thing. One is glass, one is a water bottle. Okay? I know.
These are probably cheaper.
You actually probably, huh?
They're probably cheaper.
Oh no, the iliacs would be much
The glass
cheaper.
would be cheaper?
Yeah, because you can recycle them. You can those you throw away.
That's weird.
All right, Van Buren's. Just like our ureteral sounds, these are for male Van Buren's. They go really, really big. Okay?
Woof.
There's much, much bigger ones than that. And they're used to dilate, obviously. All right, let's talk. This is the one I adjusted a little bit. Between a Pennington and a Duval. I have short Penningtons here. But you need to look at them and be able to distinguish the difference between the two. You're obviously going to be able to tell here. But out there, you need to be able, especially if they're the same size. Penningtons we use more in bowel surgery to grasp like intestines and stuff like that. Duvals are more of a lung clamp. So in CST question, they like that one. Which one is your lung clamp? And they'll have a whole bunch of clamps. It's a Duval. Okay? Obviously, you can see the difference right away. Right here is the difference. Okay? So if you get one that's the same length, and I actually think I do have one this season.
So this was the short one's the Pennington?
Okay, so here's the two of them that are the same length. All right, they look very different. The shaft itself is different. All right, the inside, one is serrated all the way. The other one is only half at the top. Okay.
Let's say which one was which.
Huh?
The one that was all the way
Is a
the
Pennington.
Pennington. Okay.
And the other one is the Duval. All right.
I figured it was because of the triangle.
No, they're both triangles. All right. Let's talk about stone. Will you grab that? There's one that's still in the package.
The Pennington has the serrations?
They both
all the
have
way.
syringe.
All the way,
Yeah, that
okay,
one.
okay. Pennington all the way,
All the way,
okay.
and the Duval is only at the.
I got it.
Stone retrieval baskets. It is exactly what it is. This goes down the same thing over here. Okay. So obviously, if we have we need a K wire, right? If we keep calling them K wires, but guide wires. We need guide wire, right? Why? What's the guide wire for? It goes through the ureter, so you can identify the ureter. That way, if you have to put something down the ureter, it goes right through that K wire because it's open. Whatever's going through is just sliding right over it like a sheath, and it goes through the ureter. So now, if I'm in here with a guide wire, right, and I need to put a retrieval basket in, now what am I going to do? Nope, I need the guide wire. You need to change your bridges.
Oh, so you have.
So you have two working ports now.
That makes sense.
One for the guide wire and one for the basket. Alright? So you know if you're doing that, you're going to do a lot of cystos out there. You know if they're doing that, you need a bridge that has two working ports.
How do you change your bridge if it's already got the guide wire in it?
Everything, this one doesn't fit because it's not orange. You just change it. Everything is color coded. Yeah. But say that they go in and they didn't expect to find it, then they would change the bridge out. Because sometimes we're just looking. So you need to take the guide wire off to change it, I think is what. Yeah. You start all over. Now if he suspects that it's there, then you would automatically start out with a two bridge. Okay? So now So, this is gonna go through the other bridge, right, the other working port. Your job as a tech, who does this part? So we give them this. Alright, so we'll give them this part, right? Takes it, puts it in. What's your job as a tech? Pushing this part. They'll tell you to open and you close.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, because she had to
This is
open
the
close.
tech's responsibility. Do not open and do not close just because you feel like it. Alright? You wait for him to say open, and you wait. When you close it slow, because if you do it fast, that stone will slip right out, okay? This one is a stupid one. We don't use lithotripsy that much anymore. We use lasers. We do a lot of lasers now. But if the stone is right there at the lithotripsy too is for gallbladders. To crush, it's to crush any stone. You do kidney stone, renal, this is cysto.
Okay.
So these are ureteral stones. So stone retrieval basket, we like our night mold. These are our ones that we use. These are much easier than that one. I'm not gonna take it all the way out, but this one, it's leakity proof. It even says open, close on it. So you can't mess it up. Alright?
Some people
It's
feel
called the
pretty
same
sure.
Same thing as you notice on the bottom, the basket's not very big, so that tells you they come in different sizes. Okay. I'm gonna tell a story about these baskets, just because this is what makes a good tech. Not that I'm tooting my own horn, but it's because of the experience. We had a 14-month-old baby come in an emergent case, had aspirated something. Didn't know aspiration is not good because it goes into the lungs, and then babies are different. We had tried and tried and tried when we did a bronch on the baby. We tried to get whatever it was because we couldn't really tell what it was during the scope. And we tried all the little graspers that came with the bronch set. And we couldn't get anything, and the baby's pressure started dropping, so we had to get the heart team in. So we were all running, I stayed there, we were all running, and they were trying to grab a heart team. And then I had a thought. I said, well, we can't grab this thing, why not try a stone retrieval basket? Of course, the ENT guy didn't know what it was. He goes, well, what's that? I'm like, that's what we use to grab our ureteral stones. And the nurse goes, come on, let's go grab a whole bunch. So we ran and we grabbed a whole bunch. Well, it ended up working. They grabbed it, it was a little bean. It was a little pinto bean. That's what it was. But the heart team was already there. There was probably a good 15 of us in the room. And because they were ready to go, because they needed to open up. But, these little things help. It wasn't even meant for that. It's meant for ureters, not to grab stuff out of a throat. You know what I mean? No, but the surgeon always remembered me for that. Every time, I didn't work with him too often because I was a 3 to 11 girl. But he always remembered that, and every time I saw him, he always said, thank you so much, because he was freaking out. I mean, it was a baby. But that's what makes a good tech. If you can think outside the box, I mean, this is for cystos. You don't use it for throats. But it works. Alright, it was small enough, the wire was small enough to be able to go through the side of it. And then we were able to go past the beam, open it up, and then pull up, and it got caught in the basket. So, these things are really, really cool. You can do much more with that.
Because it's protected by that plastic, it didn't cut nothing else.
Exactly. Because you gotta think a ureter is much, much more delicate than a throat. It's tiny, a ureter. So it works perfect. We tried like 2 or 3 different baskets, because again, they're all different sizes. So that's good FYI information to know. Okay, where are we now? Oh, damn, I don't have a Toomey. I need to see if I can find one. Toomey syringes, kind of the same thing as this evacuator. But once we come out, we'll use a Toomey and we suck. Kind of the same thing as the evacuator. You're just sucking and throwing out. We like the evacuators better. The blue Toomey sucks. Alright? The actual plunger part comes out real easy. So when he pulls it out, it usually comes right out. We like the other Toomeys. Okay? Those are good Toomeys.
Well, think about it. It's like all that. Then it's like bloop, and then you're like having to throw more towel or whatever.
Well, that's what I was going to say. There's a bag that sits right underneath, so it all drains into the bag so you don't get wet. Barren sections. These are really tiny ones.
Oh.
Thank you. These are 3, 5, and 7. Okay, it has a number on there, D3 proof. We use these for, I use these for my myringotomy, my ears. Okay, obviously these are for tiny things like pediatrics.